What's going on, you guys? Welcome on back to the channel. Now, with the return of ReZero Season 3, I figured now would be the best time to go back and talk about some cut content that's in this series, that's in the anime. Because if you're a fan of the light novels and especially the manga, you know that the ReZero anime leaves a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor. Like, I'm talking about a lot. Like, you go back and you watch the anime after reading the light novels and manga, and you're like, how did they leave all this stuff out? So, I figured now that the first episode is out for season 3, and it pretty much confirmed my suspicions that there's still important stuff that they're cutting that I know what it's about. I figured now is the best time to talk about it and get you guys in the know for what you need to know about what's being cut. So, if you don't want any spoilers though, because they probably might adapt this later on in the season, I don't know. White Fox has to figure out a way how they're going to adapt this because this is getting more and more important as time goes on. If you don't want any spoilers, like any light novel or manga spoilers, if you don't want that, click out of this video now. But essentially, the big thing that they cut from ReZero Season 1 is that Aldebaran was isekai'd from Japan, just like Subaru. Now, the reason why this is so important is because up until now, we thought Subaru was the only person that was isekai'd from Japan to here. But then when you're in the carriage with Priscilla and Aldebaran and he reveals that he was isekai'd from Japan, you see Subaru start to piece things together, start to be like, wait a minute, how has this happened before? What's going on in this world that is bringing people from Japan to here? And then when we get to season 3 now, this is why this is even more important. We see that the hotel that they're staying in is Japan inspired. Like, so there was another person that showed up probably thousands of years ago that like created this whole land and is the reason why that this hotel like looks like Japan inspired. Like that's crazy, bro. The fact that White Fox cut all this stuff is kind of insane. Like they have the person from thousands of years ago, Isekai, and they have that in the episode where Subaru kind of like reflects on that a little bit. But like it's not like in the manga or the light novel where he's like, okay, wait a minute. Not only is it just me, but Aldebaran and now this guy from like thousands of years ago, we're all isekai to this world. What are we all doing here? Why are we all being summoned here? Like, I just can't wrap my head around why this was cut. Because if you're a light novel reader, you know that Aldebaran becomes an even more important character. Like, I don't know all the specifics because I haven't gotten like deep into the light novels, but I know he's important. I know he's important to what's going on later in the story, and the fact that he was isekai from Japan plays a huge role in that. So the fact that White Fox cut that has to be the biggest mistake that they've ever made in terms of the ReZero anime. And honestly, if you really want to like look at it like that, if you really want to think about it, like Aldebaran's past and him being isekai from Japan being cut might be one of the worst mistakes any anime has ever made in terms of cut content, because it's a mistake that just keeps continuing to bite them in the ass, man, in terms of this adaptation. Because I can probably predict now that White Fox is scrambling, trying to figure out a cohesive way to put Aldebaran's past and everything with him into the anime. Because if they can't, then everything that happens later is not going to make sense. Because it all relies upon the fact that Subaru has heard this information before from Aldebaran directly. Like, Subaru knows that this is like that everything with Aldebaran I think he knows that it's going to play a role later on in the story. Like, I think he's self-aware enough to know that everything with Al could like retroactively affect him and his journey in the future. So the fact that White Fox hasn't found a way to introduce this yet is worrying. And if they don't introduce it somehow, then everything is going to feel so weird because we're operating under the assumption that Subaru already know. Well, at least now, in terms of like, if you're an anime only, like, and if you went and you read like the light novel or the anime and you saw that, you now have to operate under the complete different assumption that this has happened already, and it's just like not being shown. So, all right, this is what I didn't want to get into, but I feel like what the anime and how White Fox could get out of this whole Aldebaran situation mess that they've gotten into is if they really want to like not create a whole new anime original scene for this information, what they could do is do a flashback to the carriage and retroactively add Aldebaran telling Subaru that he's from Japan. And like and like they could just be like, "Oh, Subaru knew this whole time, you just never saw it." Like that would be ass. I don't know if they'll do that. It's possible that they could do it, but I think that's a terrible way to go about it because then you have to like, because then like it retroactively hurts like future reviewings of season one because because now you have to operate under the assumption that Subaru already knew this information. It's like, okay, then why didn't you just tell him in the original scene? Because White Fox didn't realize how important that would be in the future. It's like, even if they didn't think it wouldn't be important in the future, why wouldn't you just include it anyway? It's such a massive lore drop to the series. Like one of like now, if you think about it, it's quite possibly like top three, maybe lore drops in the series, aside from something that they cut in season two, but that's another video entirely. Like, bro, the fact that they cut that continues to hurt them, I think. And until they address it and put it somehow in the season, it's only going to affect the anime more. But as it's been proven time and time again, though, the anime community for ReZero is far stronger and bigger than the light novel and manga community. Sadly, so because when the anime is not around, the ReZero space is like kind of dead, unfortunately, which is kind of sad because the manga and light novels are actually really good. So I really wish like more eyes were on it because I'm loving it. Like I went and read the manga for all the season 1 and 2 material. I love that shit. It made season 1 a lot more cohesive experience for me, and especially season 2. Season 2 is made infinitely better in the manga, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, to wrap this up, White Fox, you need to figure out a way to put Aldebaran's backstory into the anime. Reveal that he's from Japan as well, same as Subaru. Because if you don't, and we continue to adapt at this pace, you guys are going to be screwed in later arcs if you don't find a way to adapt this. You have to adapt it into the main anime. Don't adapt it into like the little like chibi anime thing that you guys got going on over there. If you do it over there, I guarantee you, like 90% of the anime base is not going to watch it. You have to adapt it in the actual anime, or nobody's gonna know unless they watch a YouTube video like this one. Hey, how are you? Don't put it in the chibi anime. No one's gonna go watch that. All right, you have to put it in the main anime for people to watch it and know. All right, I think that's gonna do it for me though. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that White Fox is eventually going to adapt Aldebaran being from Japan in the anime? Do you think they're going to find a way to integrate that and give it a whole new scene? Or do you think they could possibly do the worst thing imaginable and make it like a complete like retcon, and they make it a flashback scene where they show the carriage again, only they have Aldebaran telling Subaru that? Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. And as always, I'm going to talk to you guys next time. Bye.